Hey, what's up guys? Bajheera here. And now in this video, we're going to take another look at the mighty quest for epic loot. Now some of you guys may remember some videos I've made about this game in the past, and it was a ton of fun and continues to be so. But since they've made some updates since I last played it, I and Ubisoft thought it'd be a cool idea if we took a look at some of the changes that were made, and mainly my goal is to let's talk about like patch notes and more talk about where my character is and what I'm doing. So, Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, if you're not familiar with the game, is a two-part game, I would say. Part of the game is what you're seeing right here, where it's sort of a action RPG. You have your character, and you're, pillaging dungeons for resources that are both life force, gold, and one of the newer things is crafting materials, and you use those crafting materials to upgrade your gear, upgrade, I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, and upgrade monsters and traps in your own castle. So, and of course those materials are required to build them in the first place, not just upgrade them. But what you're seeing here is this dungeon that I'm pillaging right now is actually a dungeon created by another player. So that does give you another idea of what the other aspect of this game is. So part of it is this action RPG style that you're seeing right here. The other half of it is dungeon or castle creation, which is a bit of like I would almost call that a sort of like a puzzle kind of thing, but it's really, really fun. And that's probably the part of the game that really gets me. I do, really, really enjoy these action RPG style games where, you take a character, you're taking them through tough dungeons, getting gear, getting experience, and becoming more powerful along the way. But the part of the game that really, really draws me in is the castle creation. Now, I'm going to show you some clips of that once we get finished with this dungeon right here. But the castle creation, of course, does hinge on your ability to collect resources. And the way you collect resources is primarily through taking your character through dungeons and getting those resources by doing that. But what I'm doing right now is I'm attacking a player-made dungeon. But if you really don't want to, have as difficult of a time farming resources, or you just want to relax a little bit, do some easy farming, I would recommend that you do like the more I call them PvE PvE dungeons, where those are created by just the game. Those are your standard sort of like a story, I guess that's a better way to say it, like storyline missions. Just go through those dungeons. They're a little bit easier than the player created ones, and definitely more farming friendly, because as you can see here, these player dungeons, even though I'm able to do this one, pretty powerfully, I get through it all right. I use my potions, but it's not too bad. I can handle it. It still, carries with it a little bit more creativity in terms of the mob packs, and even though I am able to get through it, it's still pretty tough. And when I said about the potions, the way these dungeons work is that you only have 3 potions to get through the whole dungeon. You can think of them sort of as lives, but it's potions, right? So, once you start to get a certain low health value, you might want to pop a potion, make sure you don't die. So you can see as I'm running through this dungeon, I'm collecting gear, I'm collecting gold, I'm collecting life force, but I'm also collecting little icons that pop up. Oftentimes those are crafting reagents. So we're gonna get through this dungeon. You can also see that those monsters drop little health orbs. Those will, help you keep your health at a somewhat good level. But for me, especially because I haven't played this game a lot since the update, a lot of my gear is pretty outdated. So not only do I have to update my castle, I have to upgrade my character's gear. But speaking of upgrading a castle, I'd love to show you mine. Now this is a design that I feel like needs a lot of work, but one of the fun things about building your own castle is the ability and the requirement for you to be able to test and complete your own castle, which is one of the factors to how many stars you get whenever somebody else attacks your castle, right? So you have potentially 3 whole stars. 1 star you get from destroying these mines that you see, 1 star you get from completing the castle at all without dying, and the 3rd star is you get for completing the castle in a time faster than the creator of this castle can do it. So right now I'm testing out this castle that I've built, and throughout the time that I played Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, there were sort of different metas in terms of what a castle could look like. And a lot of times, sometimes there was this all in the boss room strategy, and eventually there developed a mainly a focus on traps. We only have like 1 monster in the whole place, and there's nothing but traps in the rest of it. But I think that the developers kind of steered players away from that now. It seems like the monsters are more powerful. I'm seeing a lot fewer just trap castles now. Maybe you know, if I got back to the top of the line, maybe there'd be more trap castles. But I really do think that most of the time the idea now is to fill your castle with a good combination of traps and monsters. And I think that's a good way to do it. So what you saw right there is my castle right now. I'm kind of focusing on that all in the boss room strategy. Mainly that's because, you know, I still need to see a lot more of other players' castles. I need to see what's effective for, you know, that's effective against me. And, you know, use some of those ideas in my castle along the way. I think that's one of the absolute coolest things about the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, is seeing all the different varieties of player creativity, seeing those really neat ideas that stump you, you know, kill you, frustrate you, and you're like, oh, it's so lame, and then you're like, okay, I gotta find a way to do this in my castle. Because it's those annoying, frustrating, you know, painful, you know, trap combinations, monster combinations that you want to have in your castle. Even if it's really frustrating for you to fight it, you want to put other players through that same frustration, right? Because if an enemy player does successfully loot your castle, you lose crowns, which is like the PvP currency, right? It's like a ranking. It lets you know how many crowns you have. That's your ranking. It puts you in different leagues too. But you also lose resources, and if you've worked hard, you know, grinding dungeons for those resources, then you don't want to lose them to another player. And so you want to make them pay for attacking your castle. Plus, I think one of the most fun things is being able to watch replays of other players attacking your castle, and you have that grim satisfaction of seeing somebody else struggle against your diabolic creations, and that's something that I think is valuable. So my goal right now for Mighty Quest for Epic Loot is, since I haven't played the game in a little while, the updates came through. I want to definitely improve my character's gear, because I do feel like I'm a little bit weak compared to a lot of these players' dungeons. I gotta upgrade my monsters. I gotta see what's going on. I gotta establish my footing in this game, because it's a really neat game, and it's fun and it's easy to pick up, but it definitely packs a lot of complexity as you start to progress through the game. So one of the things that I liked for this guy right here is he had a hamster wheel, a trap in the middle, and then a barricade, which made it so you basically had to walk up to the barricade and take a hit, unless you and then I mean, of course, second time I learned from a little bit, but still, you know, I walk up to this barricade, take another hit. I mean, I'm not being as careful as I potentially need to be, but still, you know, you have some neat ideas that this guy is displaying, and some of those things you might want to emulate in your own castles. And so I feel like as I continue to get some gear, as I continue to get more powerful as a character, I will feel more confident in raiding other players' dungeons and getting some neat ideas and seeing what you know, most players are doing for their dungeons. Because the all in the boss room strategy is fine. Right now, as you saw in my castle, I really don't like, the castle is not very big. It has like only a couple rooms, and I figure, you know what? I'm fine with that at this point. If a player can get through this, basically just 2 rooms of pain, then they can win the castle. Fair enough, no worries. But eventually, I'd like to orchestrate a couple, you know, different rooms that, you know, you don't have to kill the player every single time, but if you can use them to, you can force them to use a few potions throughout the course of the castle, then maybe at the end when they have to fight a pretty scary boss room, they're, you know, too depleted from potion usage earlier on to be able to complete the dungeon without dying. And then at that point, once they die, you get resources from them. They don't get resources from you. You keep your crowns, and you get crowns from them as well. So that's basically the idea here. But get your character to be more powerful. You know, use that powerful character to farm not only resources, but also, you know, intel. You want to learn what other players are doing. You want to see what was effective against you, and institute that in your own castles. But I think this game is a whole lot of fun. It is free to play. We'll definitely have links in the description for you if you want to check this game out. And if you do decide to check this game out, by all means, please attack my castle. I'd love to, you know, come home and you know, hop on Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, see who's attacked my castle, watch the replay, see what I need to do to improve, and make those changes, and basically just cackle at people's misfortune and learn from my mistakes. But anyways, guys, really enjoying this Mighty Quest for Epic Loot. The new updates look great. It's a lot of fun to play, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys check out this game, because I think you'll like it a lot. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace!